On any Costco aisle, next to a name brand item, is often one with a slightly lower price tag, and the label, Kirkland Signature.
In the industry, Kirkland Signature is seen as really a shining example of what a retailer can do with its house brand.
Today, the Kirkland brand accounts for around 1/3 of the company's sales. But the decision to create just one private label 30 years ago was risky, especially in a world where the most successful ones were divided up by product type.
We were kind of flying right in the face of that success story.
Here's the case study on how Costco went against industry standards and in the process created a negotiation tool that would forever change big box retail.
So the first time I heard about Kirkland, it was actually because of their vodka. I think I heard about it in college where people were trying to tell me that, hey, Kirkland vodka is just like Grey Goose. In fact, it's the same exact company. They just changed the name of it. And I was like, okay. You know, I don't want to show up to a party with a bottle of Kirkland. I want to show up to a party with a bottle of Grey Goose. But if the taste is the exact same, then who knows, right?
When Costco first started in 1983, the premise was simple. Carry a limited number of name brands in each product category, but sell a lot of them.
One of the significant disciplines of our business is the limited selection.
We weren't going to carry all the SKUs the other retailers carried. We were only going to carry the highest quality goods.
4,000 items as opposed to 140,000 items, because everything that's presented at Costco is presented pretty big. Hits you right in the face whenever you walk in there.
But just a few years into this, data showed that the price of these name brand items were going up, even while the cost for brands to make them were going down.
Every year they had to raise their price to continue to satisfy Wall Street.
But Costco co-founder Jim Sinegal saw an opportunity.
We were seeing articles being written about what was happening with private label.
This 1991 Forbes article in particular outlined how consumers in Europe were turning away from name brand items and instead buying products manufactured by stores directly, known as private labels.
He wrote a whole bunch of his observations on this article and then asked all of his executives to kind of initial it to acknowledge they had read it. It's this moment where you can see his wheels turning about, look, their price increases are our opportunity.
That opportunity came down to profit margins. While retailers typically mark up name brand items anywhere from 24 to 30%, Costco had a strict maximum markup of 14%. But with a private label, Costco could now control more of the manufacturing costs for a lower starting price. So,
we allowed it, private label, to take one more percentage point higher in a markup.
The private labels quickly started piling up.
We had Chelsea toilet paper,
Cloud detergent, Traditions, Pinnacle.
We were just making up names as we went along.
But then something happened that would change everything.
And I was in one of our warehouses down in Los Angeles, and I asked the warehouse manager, did you get the new legal tablet that we had in private label? And he said, no, I don't think so. So we went to the section and we had it under the Pinnacle name. So I showed it to the manager. I said, well, here it is right here. He said, I didn't know that was our label. And it was like a bell. Hell, if we don't understand within the organization what we're doing with our label, how are the customers gonna? We decided.
That's totally true. Brand is very, very important to a company. Brand means loyalty. Brand has trust. Brand means consistency.
We need to get one name.
Consolidating all of these labels under one brand would go against every proven best practice.
Retailers tend to not use one private label brand because they're afraid that if you have a bad experience with one item, it might translate across the whole store.
If they don't trust the brand in the golf ball, they don't trust the mixed nuts.
You look at Sears, which was a successful retailer at the time, they had multiple brands that were their store brands in different categories.
You can't argue with the success that Sears had, but that one warehouse manager who couldn't tell me where the tablets were was an illustration of where you could go wrong in something like that.
And then the question was, what would that name be?
We thought Costco was not the right name to put on it because we did so much business with other people, and we decided on Kirkland name.
At the time, the headquarters were in Kirkland, Washington.
And then we promptly moved the home office to Issaquah. Nobody.
Got it. I've always wanted to know why it was named Kirkland. Was it named after a person? But no, it was named after the city that their original headquarters was in. And I guess they're about to say it too. They moved it to Issaquah, and I'm pretty sure that's not a very good name to put on an American household goods.
It could spell Issaquah anyway, so we'll just keep Kirkland. And we've used that same label ever since.
Over the next few years, Costco slowly rolled out the Kirkland name.
I do remember when Kirkland Signature shampoo came out.
It was the first hair care that we did. And then we had some vitamins that came out shortly after that.
Today, Kirkland has over 350 products across a variety of categories. But the company still operates with a limited selection in each of these.
Real quick, this is amazing. Guys, buy the Kirkland batteries. I believe someone said that they were the exact same thing as Duracell. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, get the Kirkland. They're way cheaper than the Duracell that's right next door to it.
What the industry calls a limited SKU environment.
I think the limited SKU environment is a very misunderstood or understood secret of a lot of things about Costco, including private label.
When a new Kirkland item hits the shelf, that category becomes even more competitive.
If you're a supplier at Costco, it's kind of existential. It could reduce your sales. It could kick you off the slot entirely. So it's a real moment of head-on competition for a supplier.
It's an $80 billion brand, so it drives a lot of sales. Nobody wants to be that dramatically higher price than them.
I see it as a tremendous negotiation tool.
One of the clearest examples of this leverage is Kirkland diapers.
Costco knew that they wanted to have a Kirkland version of a diaper.
But because of its limited SKU environment,
We weren't going to carry both Huggies and Pampers. We were going to carry one brand and a Kirkland Signature.
to see who might make the Kirkland diapers, Costco approached two market leaders, Procter & Gamble of Pampers and Kimberly-Clark of Huggies.
There was a series of negotiations. Kimberly-Clark agreed.
And although Costco says Kirkland manufacturing negotiations are separate from conversations about shelf space,
There's always been only Huggies diapers and Kirkland diapers on Costco shelves for many, many years.
It was decided on the basis of who came in and presented the best deal for the diapers.
even after a product is established, Costco buyers continue to monitor that category.
Our buyers are very aware of the commodity inputs, the raw ingredients that go into something. They know everything.
And this knowledge can lead the company to change its Kirkland vendors. Recently, Costco shifted to the Cuties manufacturer, First Quality.
We felt like we could produce a higher quality product at a lower price for our members.
Having not that many products on shelves compared to other retailers is a huge benefit with Kirkland because they can be very strategic about the fact that there's only a few slots. It allows them to dictate what they want for their shoppers.
So that is crazy. You guys gotta understand that this is a private label brand that other name brands are afraid of because they know that if Kirkland comes out with their own coffee, as you can see here, then all the other coffee companies are going to be sweating because they know they're going to lose a lot of sales in Costco and potentially shelf space as well.
With Kirkland's name on hundreds of products, these negotiations are happening on almost every aisle of the warehouse.
When I look back at that Forbes article, one thing that really struck me is, wow, brands really had a chance to not charge more than they needed to give retailers kind of an in to create these really successful private label products. But that's ancient history. It's too late now. Consumers again have really turned to store brands.
While national brands are still a bigger industry than private labels, in 2024, sales for private labels like Kirkland grew about 4 times faster than the national brands, hitting a record high. And with $86 billion in sales last year, Kirkland is now a bigger brand than Procter & Gamble and Kraft Heinz.
What? Look, guys, look at this. Kirkland Signature has higher annual sales than Procter & Gamble and Kraft Heinz. What? That's awesome.
Is it the most significant thing for the company? I'd certainly say it's up there with the top 3 or 4.
But analysts say Kirkland's success is hard to replicate.
There's a few retailers that have gone to one private label. Not many, but a direct competitor like Sam's Club. More recently, 2017, they went to Members Mark, which is their private label brand.
I'm guessing they got that from us.
Since consolidating, Sam's Club private label sales have nearly doubled. And when asked about its strategy shift, Sam's Club said in an email to the Wall Street Journal that one reason it simplified its products into a single brand was to reduce confusion for its members. But despite these successes, many big retailers aren't following Costco's lead. Target and Walmart have multiple private label brands.
They have to make that choice themselves. I mean, the choice, we think, in retrospect, was right for us. But it could have been wrong.
I think there's something also specific to like the club channel, like a Costco Sam's Club. you pay a membership fee. So it's a little bit of a different environment. You're a little bit more bought
Right.
in. You've already shown loyalty to what they have to offer in a way that's just a little bit different.
Compared to other mass retailers like Target and Walmart, club channels like Costco and Sam's Club are winning the private label food and beverage space, shown in their growth over the last year.
We still want to sell name brands. We think that shows value to the membership. So we really use Kirkland Signature strategically to make sure that we're priced correctly on brands and that we're offering a better quality.
And the revenue from Kirkland is set to rise as the company looks to expand its offerings like Kirkland Sushi to its U.S. stores.
I don't want to push our employees or our managers and our buyers to go out and hit quotas about number of Kirkland items I want developed out there. I want them to do it naturally as they go through their categories and look for those opportunities.
We don't need to put our name on a product just to put our name. It's a lot of work.
In fact, every Kirkland product ever made since 1995 has been signed off by the CEO directly.
The final approval of
Wow.
the products would come to me, and I would initial it in green ink.
That is phenomenal. So if you guys didn't catch that, since 1995, every single Kirkland Signature item has been signed off by the CEO. How many CEOs can say that they sign off on every single one of their products? Not a lot, especially one as big as Costco.
Those were known as green ink meetings because they got the green ink to proceed. It was as simple as that.
To this day, Costco still holds green ink meetings for all final approvals, even though that pen color is now retired.
I think I'm probably the only person that writes in green around here.
That's a great piece by the Wall Street Journal, guys. So wow, guys, Costco is doing amazing right now. I mean, with their sales, with their loyalty as well. You guys have to understand right now what's happening in social media. People are talking about Costco. A couple years ago, everybody was talking about Target. You know, it's always funny TikToks and reels of Target. So Target had their own kind of marketing machine that they didn't have to touch. But now you're seeing a lot more Costco reels and TikToks, a lot more social media from Costco. Costco doesn't have to market that much at all, right? People know about Costco. What's funny is that people who have Costco memberships are kind of seen as like this prestigious, you know, club, right? And it's all a joke, right? You know, of course we're not like huge in prestige or anything, but I'm just saying all that because of the marketing behind it. It just goes by itself. It's part of Americana now. It's part of America, Costco. And you guys also can see and hear these stories of Costco opening in other countries and just completely blown up in sales. You know, people rushing to almost like a Black Friday when you see a Costco open in another country, especially in Japan, I saw as well. Well, I mean, I shop at Costco. I tend to buy some stuff from Kirkland and some not. But now that I know what Kirkland actually is, I might go ahead and save some money buying some Kirkland because, as we all know, every time you go to Costco, you have a limit, a budget, but you always go over. I think my wife and we pretty much go over our limit by 2 or 3x. So we go into, yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. So if we go into Costco saying that we want to spend $50 because we just needed these 2 or 3 items, yeah, we end up walking out of there with $150 worth of items every single time. And a hot dog. Never forget about the hot dog. So do you like the Kirkland brand? Let me know in the comments. What's the best Kirkland brand item that you've ever bought? Honestly, mine is the AA and AAA batteries. I love them. They're much cheaper than Duracell that is right next to it. So I highly encourage you guys to go ahead and buy that. But yeah, what's your favorite Kirkland item? Let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching. I'm Debt Free Steve.